This little thing is one of the cheapest 3D scanners on the market. From the people that brought you the Ender 3, this is the Creality Ferret Pro. Despite the cute name and tiny demeanour, this claims to be a serious bit of kit, able to 3D scan anything from your face to your car, all wirelessly too. To be clear though, the ferret part of the name refers to the little camera doodad on top. That can actually be purchased separately from the wireless bridge and handle as the Ferret SE for £120 less, or you can pony up the extra for the Wi-Fi box and the battery handle. If you do, this is the setup. The ferret scanner on top, connected to the wireless bridge with a USB cable on the front, which itself is powered by the 5000 mAh battery built into the handle, and a little screw tripod on the bottom to keep it all nice and level. You do also have a phone mount in the middle, so if you want to scan stuff on the go, this can be done entirely without a computer. Although there are some limitations, but we'll come back to that later. Or you can hook it up directly to a PC with the included Type-C to Type-A USB 3 cable, should you prefer that. Specs-wise, this thing makes some impressive claims, with the primary one being 0.1mm accuracy. That's kind of impressive considering the distance between points is 0.16mm, but hey, what's 0.06mm between friends anyway? This thing uses two IR cameras, a IR projector and a color camera to scan objects basically as big as you want, working between 150 and 700mm away from the scanned object, and a minimum scan volume of 50 by 50 by 50mm. At least I think so. The manual says 15 by 15 by 15 centimeters cubed, which just doesn't make any sense, so who knows. Oh, and the party trick here is using that color camera to texture map at the same time, so you end up with a colored model when it's done. Pretty cool, right? So what's it actually like to, scan with this thing? Well, scanning via your phone, besides the fact that it absolutely rinses your phone's battery, isn't exactly the smoothest experience. I was getting something like 2 to 3 frames per second connected via Wi-Fi, which means it's a little on the slow side to actually scan something, especially something as large as an engine bay. I wanted to scan my engine though, because it has lots of identifiable and specifically sized objects like nuts and pipes, and this is the main application that I can see myself using this thing for anyway. Now, it only lost tracking a couple of times across the whole engine bay, and mostly just when I was moving too quickly, although it did struggle with some geometry, as you can't really get close enough for it to scan smaller things properly. In general though, you just kind of paint the object with the scanner's sensor range. Shows up as a green triangle in the UI, and just slowly move around the object you're scanning to get more detail and a wider picture. The scanning process creates a point cloud, which your phone then sweats, turning into a mesh. Or at least in theory it should, but on my OnePlus 7T Pro, it failed to process such a large mess, apparently running out of RAM. Luckily, once you set up the firewall rules correctly, you can open the Creality Scan software on a PC and wirelessly transfer the project and process it there. I had to do that for my engine, and that's where I ran into a few other issues with the sort of meshing process. Because the scan isn't whole, as in I didn't scan all the sides of my engine to create a more complete mesh, what I ended up scanning, or what I ended up seeing, was close to a mostly flat plane with some texture to it. The option to close holes and create a shelled body, well, it just really didn't know what to do with this, especially with the bulkhead up at the back as well, which meant that it ended up inverting half of my coils and valve covers. Disabling those settings and increasing the max number of polygons helped immensely, where I was finally able to actually mesh it and export the model as an STL file, and then import it into Fusion to take some measurements. Despite things like the nuts that hold my supercharger on being, well, let's say a little round and somewhat lacking in detail, they did measure out to close to 13mm depending on where you were measuring, which is accurate to what they are. The oil filter cap measured a little off, as that's a 36mm nut, but it reported at 35.6mm in fusion. Now that isn't bad for sure, but it also isn't within 0.1mm. The oil fill cap read as 20.14mm in fusion, but in the real world it's more like 20.9. Still, for basically photogrammetry, that really isn't bad. I then brought the sensor inside and hooked it up directly to my laptop via the included USB-C to A cable, hoping that the scanning process would be better when attached to a more powerful machine. And I guess I was half right. I mean, the scanner was able to run much faster, closer to its 30 FPS limit, but the actual scanning? Yeah, that was much worse. I tried scanning this Rook, that sort of test print that Elegoo offers with their 3D printers. I figured this would be a great thing to directly compare the 3D models, you know, for size and accuracy, but it outright refused. I tried to do it on my turntable and bare on the desk, but neither picked up. I tried something slightly larger, the remote from the Costco lights that I recently hacked, video on the cards above, and that was just hilarious. The scanner did indeed pick it up, and then it scooted the scanner around like a snail all over the place, and all while the scanner was still, you know, being as still as I could hold it. It wasn't able to pick up any actual geometry, just a 2D picture of the top down of the remote over and over across the snail trail. Maybe with some of the included tracking markers, it might have done a bit better here, but it's annoying that it even happened in the first place. Now, I gave up trying to scan objects and opted to do the face scan feature instead. I held it myself and basically did my best to scan my entire head, but here it struggled a lot, especially with my hair. Look at the IR camera in the top corner, that's what's doing the actual scanning. It just can't see my hair there. There were a lot of spots, even right at the front, that really struggled to pick anything up. The result is a really weird and kind of low quality copy of something resembling my head, but with lots of holes in it. I mean, it messed up my eye geometry, my neck, and definitely my hair. Obviously, with more practice, someone else holding it, and more care taken to get the scan right in the first place, it likely can do better, but I'm under no illusion that this is going to give you anything close to production ready. For me, the very first stumbling block for this was the question, what's this for? Because this isn't a LiDAR scanner, so it really isn't accurate enough for the sort of thing that I would use it for, which is cars and fabricating parts, and it definitely can't give you 3D printer ready parts either. For a close enough approximation of something to then model around, sure, but that isn't really for me. I'm not everyone though, so I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. What would you use this for? If you do have a use case for this, the £200 to £340 this thing costs, depending on if you want the Wi-Fi box or not, might very well be worth it. Assuming you don't want to use a free and open source software like Meshroom from Alice Vision and a bunch of pictures from your regular camera anyway. The next levels of this sort of thing get you much closer to £1,000 or more, and the truly professional ones are more like £10,000. So by comparison, this is an absolute steal, even if you do get less for your money. In short, I'm both impressed and let down by the Ferret Pro. The fact that you can scan something even as large as an engine or, you know, an entire maybe half of a car with nothing but your phone, at least to scan, then, you know, processing might need a PC, is amazing. And frankly, the quality is excellent for that. But as a 0.1mm accuracy pro scanner, nah, this ain't that. Of course, those are my thoughts, but like I said, I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below. Would you use this for anything in particular? And actually, what would you use this for? And let me know what you think. I will leave a link to it in the description if you're interested, and if you want to see more videos like this one, you can hit the subscribe button. Check out plenty of other videos in the end cards, including the Hacking Costco Lights video. And if you want to check out my own hardware, the open source response time and latency testing tool that I designed just with a pair of calipers and imagination rather than a 3D scanner, let me check out osrtt.com in the description. Otherwise, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, we'll see you on the next video.